everyone, it's Basma Izzat and your weekly TV show Unknown History. Today we are going to talk about a new topic of unknown history events. Now we are going to talk about Prophet Isa or Prophet Jesus and also his way in education or method to call to God. We're talking about traveling.
Yeah.
And you said your dream was going to Europe by driving, a trip by driving.
Yes.
Can you just tell us about it?
Yeah, my dream, I went to Western European countries several times by plane, mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And this time I went by my car till the North Sea in Holland. And this was good experience to learn some countries by car and staying there, drinking, eating there and learning their habits.
For how long did it stay?
It took about 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, and but it was very educative, seeing those places.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And my plan is, inshallah, to do the same thing in Africa.
Really, it will be amazing.
Yeah, inshallah.
Yeah. So our advice to people is to think, educate yourself, and also travel and be open-minded to the world.
Exactly.
Right.
Very important.
Yes.
Very important. Just like a university, traveling
Yes.
and reading together.
It's amazing that university came from universe, so you have to think widely.
Yes.
So now we are going to talk about Hazrat Isa, Jesus, the prophet. He also had a method.
Yes, that's right. The basis of Jesus Christ's teaching was tolerance. And if we remember, when we read Bible, the people in that area those days, any adultery woman was stoned those days, stoning regime like. And
any adult woman?
Those days, yeah, they were doing the same thing. And they were going to stone a woman because of her adultery.
Yes.
And Jesus, everyone was holding one stone. And suddenly he said, the first stone must be thrown by a person who has no guilt or sin.
Mm-hmm.
So no one couldn't throw the stone.
We all have sins.
Because we all have sins and mistakes. What a hypocrisy, stoning a person just because of her mistake and killing her just because of this reason, while we were having this kind of problem in our heart. And Jesus Christ tried to show in his teaching hypocrisy in our hearts. So this also was reflected in Quran as, why do you tell what you don't do?
That's right.
They reflected on these things. And also Jesus Christ tried to teach people how to love each other, neighbors and animals, or this kind of thing, respecting each other.
It's the same ethics in Islam, actually.
Yeah, very similar.
But as we know,
in Christianity and the Jesus teaching.
Pardon.
Sorry.
This event, as we know, this woman was made a sin.
Yeah.
She's not innocent.
It doesn't matter she's innocent or not.
That's what
the most important thing is in that position, Jesus tried to show them everyone is guilty, everyone has got problems, mistakes, this kind of things, and no need to try to punish a woman stoning in the very bad way and revealing her sin or revealing her guilt in the society.
Yeah.
And that was the point. And this teaching with one word here is a very important point. And the tolerance also.
Yes.
The teaching of Jesus was tolerated, forgiving, even praying for the enemy. It's very big, important point here even. I must emphasize one thing. Those days, any orphan child who has no father during the time of Jesus Christ, in Arami language, they were calling him or her daughter of God or son of God, because the God is protecting her or God is protecting him. That is why they were calling son of God or son of daughter. Son of God or daughter of God. They were saying, and that is why normally they call Jesus Christ in Aramaic language Son of God, just because of this reason. This kind of tradition is inside of Turkish language also, man of God. If anyone who is helpless, living on the street or poor, in Turkish language, Allah'ın adamı. That means man of God. Man of Allah, that means the God is protecting him. God is the owner of that person. Yeah, this is an important point. And also Jesus Christ had 12 students, apostles, when he was alive. Only 12 people.
Only 12 people believed in him.
Yes. And these students went to Anatolia, Turkey, and after Jesus' death. And one of them, St. Peter, built the first church of the world in Antakya, Turkey. And I invite Christians to come to Turkey and to see the first church of the world in Antakya was built by Saint Peter in French, Saint Pierre, in Russian Piotr, Sankt Piotr they say. And but in Turkish we say Peter, or in Greek Petros also
Petros,
they say. In Arabic Butros.
Yes, we have the same name in Egypt.
And this is one point. And also the very famous Christian scholar Saint Paul in the Russian Pavel, in English Paul.
We also have it in Egypt.
Paulus in Greek. He was born in Tarsus in the south of Turkey. Tarsus is still there. Is still the same as Roman style today. If you go that area, you can see the Roman time really. I went to his house and also his church visited a long time ago, and he wrote some letters to the people in Anatolia, Galatians. They were living in around of Ankara. And the castle of Ankara was built by Galatians. They were all mainly European race, they came from Central Europe to Turkey, Ankara. And then he wrote a letter to them, Galatians. Ephesus was west of letter of Ephesus also. They were in western part of Turkey.
Yes.
And each part of this area, when we look really, there is history. Well, for instance, Saint Philippus. Saint Philip was killed in Hierapolis, Pamukkale in Turkey. He was against the Caesar, and he didn't accept the godness of the Caesar. That is why he was killed in the Pamukkale area. His grave was found in that area, and the government of Turkey made an open grave for visiting today, and the Christians San Philippus grave is still there, and everyone can go and visit him. And the Saint John, he took the Maria, Jesus' mother, Mary, to the western part of Turkey, and there is Church of Mary in Ephesus today. And sometime the Catholics are coming and visiting this church to be pilgrim. It's very near to Izmir.
You mean that the 12 students of Prophet Isa came to Turkey?
Yes, of course.
All of them? They immigrated, like?
Most of them. For instance, the Saint John was Ephesus. Saint Philippus was killed in the Pamukkale, Hierapolis. And the Saint George is very famous.
Yes.
In Christian history. He was killed in Nicomedia. It's 100 kilometers away from Istanbul. Today is Kocaeli city. He was killed in there. His mother was from Cappadocia, and parents Cappadocia and Palestine, and he didn't accept the rule of Caesar. Unfortunately, he was killed in Nicomedia, And today,
they all have been killed.
Yeah.
The same.
And St. George also gave his name to Georgia. It's a country in Caucasia, and he gave his name as a state in the United States as Georgia. The capital is Atlanta. And St. George has got a cross, is a red cross on the white flag. And this is the flag of England and Georgia, and it's the flag of Malta as well.
Yes.
And also it's a patron, the symbol of some cities. The patron is the symbol name protecting the city. And the St. George is the patron of Moscow, Beirut, and some other many European cities. But unfortunately, no one in these cities knew that he was killed in Turkey by Caesar in Kocaeli, Nicomedia, sorry. And also the four Gospels.
Government from Istanbul, 100 kilometers from Istanbul.
100 kilometers away from but the Asian part, of course. And the Nicaea is Iznik is a very important area because 4 Gospels were chosen in there. And all the Gospels, the Gospel of St. Philippus, Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Barnabas, and all the Gospels were collected. Only 4 of them were accepted as the official books, the Gospels of Church, they said. And these 4 Gospels today, Matta, Marcos, Johanna, Luca in Turkish. And the Matta is Matthew, Luca is Luke, and Johanna is John, and the Mark is Marcos in Turkish, Mark. And when we look at these 4 Gospels are very similar each other. And the Gospel of John was a little bit different than the others when we observe. And the first three Gospels are very similar to teaching of Quran as well.
Really?
Yeah. And today, a lot of tourists, they come from many countries, especially Europe, America, and Latin America as well. Also some from Africa, Christian Africans. They are coming to visit these areas.
Of course.
Because Turkey is a biblical country as well. And there are very many other stories about this. And when they come and visit Turkish museums, they will find very interesting things more than these things, really. For instance, I went to Alanya, it's the southwest of Turkey.
Yes.
I found a very interesting thing in there. I found a Greek alphabet. I can read a little bit Greek because it's very close to Cyrillic alphabet. I know Russian language, that's why I read a little bit. And it was Turkish, written by the Greek alphabet. But it was Turkish. It was writing in Turkish. I was very surprised. And I learned that they were Christian Turks who lived in central Anatolia, and they converted to Orthodoxy, and they started using Hellenistic alphabet. But they were speaking Turkish. And many Orthodox Turks, they went to Greece, and some of them, they have Turkish surnames.
Wow.
Interesting.
Interesting.
And when they come to Turkey, discovering these things, and African brothers and sisters, they will enjoy it very much, really.
Yeah. Turkish culture is very rich, actually.
Yeah, but we Turks are living here, but we mixed with the native nations, with the Greeks, with the Armenians, and also Galatians. Africans, they came here.
In the previous episode, we talked about African people live in Izmir, and they became Turk.
Exactly, and we are living here like brothers and sisters together. And and I believe African brothers and sisters, when they come here to visit these areas, they will enjoy it very much, really, and they will be very surprised after learning the history of Anatolia. Anatolia means where the sun rises up.
Yes.
And it's a Greek word normally, but we made it in Turkish language, Anadolu.
Anadolu.
Anadolu means full of mothers. Normally, yes. And the
Anadolu.
Ana means mother, you know.
Yes.
And Dolu means full. And they're going to be very surprised learning Kibele. Kibele is a Sibele, sometimes it's called as Kibele or Sibele. It's a woman, female goddess. Yes. And she was in Turkey, but her name also used in Arabic language as, Qibla.
Really?
Yeah, and the Qibla showing the directing to the direction of the Kaaba is coming from her name normally.
Really?
Yes.
It's very interesting.
The Turkish name Sibel comes from this also. When we observe these things and languages and the cultures in Anatolia, it's interesting.
Yes.
The Hittites, they lived in central Turkey many years ago, before Jesus, and they migrated to Europe. And normally they are the fathers of ancestors of Germans, Germanic nations. Normally they migrated from northern Turkey to that area. But the Celtic people, they came back from Europe to Turkey. And but Germanic nations, they went to Germany or the Western European countries from Anatolia. Even their languages are very similar.
Yes.
The brother, brat, water, wasa is the same word in Hittites. Interesting.
Yes.
And some historians and archaeologues are coming, observing this language in Turkey, really.
It's amazing that what make a civilization is very successful or very powerful. To have a lot of diverse people in the same city, in the same country, and they live with each other. That's what makes us powerful, more powerful.
Yes, but of course, we can see it also from Egypt, because this reflected all the Egyptian people, because Egyptian people are much more clever than when we compare with the other Islamic countries. And they, because of the biggest civilization is there, they learned how to think as well. Also, Turkey is the biggest civilization of Eastern Romans. And Iran is the Persian civilization.
Yes.
Is Iran, Turkey, and Egypt. These three big civilizations in this area. That is why these three countries are much more productive about thinking, science, and art as well, and the books. Al-Azhar University, I told. This must be spread other places as well.
Yeah, that's
right. And Morocco is also one of the best place for learning because of the
university, the Al-Qur'an one.
The Muslims, they went and they created biggest civilization in Spain, and the biggest civilization in Spain also came to Morocco.
I thought you are going to talk about Qarawin University. It's a very old
that's
university.
Also, but what I can say is the early Renaissance started in Spain by Muslims, and in that area there were many wonderful universities. Unfortunately, Isabel, the Queen of Spain, she burnt those books and killed many Muslims and Jews, and they had to come to Turkey. Many Jews and Muslims, they came to Turkey from that area by the vessels of Ottoman Empire those days.
But coming back to Prophet Isa,
yes, Jesus.
his 12 students.
Yes.
They immigrated from Palestine
Yes.
to Turkey.
Yeah.
But you have mentioned something, Hazratu Maryam.
Yes.
As we know, she go to Egypt. She went to Egypt.
Yeah, they say so.
Actually, we have like in Saint.
They also say so.
I can't remember, but we have a church. She was living here, then she moved to this place. We know this, but you said
that's also possible. This was also another claim in the history.
But you said she came to Turkey.
The Christian world today, they believed she was brought by Saint George to Ephesus. Why Ephesus? Because Ephesus was one of the important centers of the world those days, such as Antakya. The first church was built in Antakya also. As I told you, the Antakya, there were how many people? 250,000 people in Antakya area.
Was living.
Antakya was one of the most crowded city in the world those days, like New York.
Like New York nowadays.
Yeah, like New York is one of the biggest center of the art or finance or something.
Yes.
And the Antakya was carrying this mission those days in the Roman Empire. That's why Saint Peter came and built his church in that area. And many Christians, many pagans converted to Christianity after this church in that area. And the apostles, they migrated from Palestine to Anatolia, and the Christianity started spreading every part of Anatolia very fast.
Yeah.
And also St. Paul played a big role about this. But I should say also something about Barnabas. Barnabas wrote also a gospel. His gospel was found in Turkey and translated. Today it was printed in Turkish language also. I bought and read it. Mm-hmm. And the Barnabas gospel is very, very close to Quran in many ways. And he was killed in Cyprus, and his grave is in Cyprus today.
Till now.
And the Cyprus, Turkey, Middle East, these areas, those days, most populated areas in the world. And of course, the civilization should start from here. If God should have sent a message, this was the best place to send. Normally, God sent, as we know from Quran, many prophets, not only few, or we know them only from Quran, some of them, but most of them are unnamed.
Yes.
Also, when we look at American Indian belief, we can see some teachings are very similar to Bible and Quran also. Interesting, really.
Yes.
And they also, not only Indians in the North America, but also in the South America also. Mayas, Incas, Aztecs, in the Central America as well. Their civilization is interesting, and the faith is very close in some ways, Quran and Bible. From also teaching of Buddha and the Confucius as well. Mm-hmm. When we read, the teachings are very similar in some ways to Islam and Christianity, loving each other, and some philosophic, wonderful speech.
The same philosophy.
Yeah, and when we travel and when we visit countries, of course, this is going to improve our intellectuality and also vision And when we come back to our country after having this information, and this is going to be a much more valuable thing. And I call African brothers and I invite them to come to Turkey and visiting those places, especially Christian Africans, to Turkey and seeing those areas. House of St. Paul in Tarsus, Philadelphia. Philadelphia in United States is fake. The real
really?
Real Philadelphia is from Bible, and it was mentioned in Bible, and it is in the south of Turkey. The Philadelphia is Memphis is in
Arabic.
in
Egyptian
in Egypt.
Language,
yes, and also the first university in the world was established in Edessa. Edessa also was mentioned in Bible, and Edessa is today Urfa city in Turkey.
Really?
Şanlıurfa, yes. And in Edessa, they had the first.
Because we know that it's in Morocco, Karawan University. It's in Turkey.
Yeah, it's in Turkey because I tell you why. Urfa, Edessa.
Edessa.
Yes, Edessa is those days was very ancient, and they found the Göbekli Tepe. Göbekli Tepe is interesting place because the history has to be written again after Göbekli Tepe, because the history which was known, the Göbekli Tepe is taking 10,000 years back.
Wow.
So where is Göbekli Tepe? In southeast of Turkey, in Urfa area, Edessa area. So that is normal, having a university in the first time in the world. And they were observing planets in the Rasatana, is the observatory. They had telescopes those days.
Wow.
And before the telescope was invented in Europe, the many gadgets, science gadgets like this, were invented in the eastern part of the world.
Yes.
In China was using printing machine before John Gutenberg. But in the Turkish schools or the Muslim schools, in the schools,
we mentioned
they say the printing machine was invented by the Gutenberg. No,
yes.
It's not. It was invented by
Chinese.
In China long time ago, and the China made paper from the papyrus, and Europe learned all these things. From the books of Eastern Roman, Istanbul, Constantinople.
We talk about the importance of Constantinople or Istanbul in the world in the first episode.
And also the first university today, according to today's principles, today's level, first university was University of Constantinople. Yes. And they had teachers like today's, the establishment was very similar to today's universities. That is why the modern universities' history starts from Istanbul, Constantinople. So Istanbul University today is very old.
It's amazing, ancient.
Yes, ancient. And my dream is to see our universities really universal. When they are,
we really hope so.
When they are universal, but graduating from university speaking not English, it's not acceptable. Every person who was graduated from university has to speak a foreign language to be universal. English is important language because wherever you go, you can find someone speaking English.
Yeah.
And the second important language is to learn really. For Latin America is Spanish, and for Africa is English, French. And Portuguese in some countries. And Arabic language is very important as well because of the North Africa. And in Asia, Chinese is important in the Far East. And when you speak Chinese, you're going to find someone who speaks a language which is very close to Chinese language as well.
Yes.
And also Russian language is important in Eurasia, eastern part of Europe. For instance, I had a tour together with my family, the Balkan Peninsula. I speak Russian, and the Bosnians, Serbians, they speak a language which is very close to Russian language, really. I speak Russian, they speak Bosnian or Serbian.
It's like an accent.
We understand each other.
Yeah, you can understand.
Because this is like Slavic language. Ukrainian language is very close to Russian language, just like Azerbaijani language and the Turkish language.
Yes.
Arabic language is very close to Jewish language. So the Jews can learn Arabic language very easily. Arabs can learn Jewish, Hebrew very easily, because Shalom Aleichem is Salam Aleikum. Is the same, very similar things. And
it's also similar to Farsha.
Persian is close to European languages, such as
and Arabic too.
Yeah,
and
Kurdish as well.
Yes.
Kurdish, Persian. These languages are close to Russian and German language, Germanic languages. Really, there are many similar words each other. For instance, in Russian language, жизнь means life. Жизнь. In the Russian language, also žena means woman. When we look at Kurdish, jin and jinach. It's a life and a woman is the same words. It's interesting.
It's interesting.
In Latin is gynecology. Gynecology is a gene word comes from generation, also generator.
Yes.
Producing, productivity. And because the woman gives life and the child comes from woman and the generation. Jan word is the source of the woman.
Is it the same word in Turkish, Jan?
The Jan is the word of coming from life also. That's right.
Yeah.
And also another meaning is unseen, invisible creatures like this, like genie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It seems like all language came from the same source.
Yeah, the semantics is very important science.
Yeah, really.
To understand the world. It helps also literature and also philosophy.
Yes.
So I recommend everyone who is interested in philosophy to learn languages. This is going to help them very much to understand, especially Arabic language, French language. These languages are very rich. In Arabic, there are 1 million words inside.
Yes.
In Turkish, 120,000 words only. But in French, there are 500,000 words. In English, 175,000 words. And English has got a lot of words from French and Latin. Why? Because a long time Christians believed reading Bible in Latin language is good deed. You can't read any English Bible those days. So they were taking the words to the English language.
So words came from Latin.
Exactly. Even today, if we see some words in Russian language similar with English and Russian words, this is because of Bible and the Roman Empire.
Yes. So we have discussed a lot of interesting
things about
topics.
education.
It's amazing.
But mainly, when we say again, the Jesus teaching was about tolerance, love, and empathy. Empathy is very important, and you can't be a good Christian without being a good person. It's the same
good
for
human.
the Islam also. when we look at the basis of Christian is love, and also the basis of Islam is moral values.
Yes.
That is why "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim" means stoned Satan. You know, it's rajim means stone, stoning the Satan and the devil, and that means in the Arabs those days, in ancient Arabs, also the same as Jesus period, they were stoning anyone who is liar. Or
Ever sin.
Yeah, interesting, really. And also they were taking some sand in hand and throwing the face. Any liar. And interesting. And then that is why "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim" is the first, "Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim" is the second, because you can't go to Rahman ar-Rahim without getting away, running away from immorality.
Immorality, yes.
Yeah, this part is also La ilaha. Another one is Illallah. It's the reason why we say first La ilaha and the secondly Illallah. It explains why. And the Nahi Anil Munkar is the first, and Amr bil Maruf is the second part. And the 100 years, many years, Muslims were not thinking these kind of things. We stopped thinking these things, really, because we were shaking hands and reciting Quran in Arabic language without understanding in the schools, without repeating. And it's interesting, shaking the hands or heads, you know, in the schools, classrooms, and
without thinking,
yeah, we must. Our head was coming, but we must do this circulation. Think. The God, you know, in Quran says 850 times. Why don't you think? Why you think very little? When are you going to start to think?
Yes, that's right.
Very big warning. But the thinking is a start after reading, and the last step is doing, practice. Generator is Quran, moderator is Prophet Muhammad, and you know, prophets, other prophets as well. For us, as you know, Jesus was also moderator. We accept Jesus as a prophet, as a messenger, as a teacher.
And his ethics and education method, or da'wah to Allah method, was very close to Prophet Muhammad.
Yes, very close. That is normal, having similar methods, because they are coming from the same source. They were taking the light from the same source to enlighten the whole world, really. Unfortunately, the problem is after their teachings were complicated by some other people, you know, which were called as holy man or something. They wrote many books after that. They said, "Oh, read these things. Don't read Quran. You misunderstand if you read Quran. Read this first." They were saying those days.
Yes, that's right.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, yes. So today we have a lot of interesting topics about education. Maybe some people said it's not related to our program main topic, history.
No, it is also
but
history.
It's really related.
The basis of history.
Of course, it is. History. So what do you think we are going to have in the next episode?
We can talk about the unknown stories of some people who were not mentioned in the history, such as Rumaysa, for instance, is a woman. She was educated by the Prophet Muhammad, Darul Arqam area, also, and what she has done, and what was her manner, revolutionary way of life. These kind of things we can talk also.
You mean Darul Arqam? In this school, there were women and men? I thought it's just for men.
Yeah, the men were educated, but also the women were educated. Because,
at the same place?
No, not same place. The women were educated by Hatija as well. You know, Hatija is the wife of Prophet Muhammad, and what was
we have mentioned her in previous
she's the first Muslim. It's a woman.
Khadija.
Yeah.
Khadija.
Hazrat Hatija is the first Muslim. And we must underline this very well. The first woman was a woman. First Muslim was a woman. And this is going to give us an idea about the mission of the woman
in Islam.
In Islam and also in Christianity as well.
Yeah, that's right.
We can talk.
Okay, it will be amazing. It will be a very interesting topic. So, unfortunately, we're out of time for today. We have discussed education from Islamic and Christian perspective. So, as you know, now we have a new episode next week, and we are going to talk about women in Islamic and in religious, as we can say.
History of them.
Or historical, yes. So stay with us and watch us again. If you want to see the previous episodes, you can watch our our YouTube channel. Thank you for being with us today. See you next week, inshallah.